The birds flap and fidget, edgy with migration. Some tear up frosty twigs and toss them in the air. Their jitters spill over into combat. At last the sandhills settle down into wary, stilt-legged sleep, most standing in the water, a few farther up in the stubbled fields. A squeal of brakes, the crunch of metal on asphalt. One broken scream and then another roused the flock. The truck arcs through the air, corkscrewing into the field. A plume shoots through the birds. They lurch off the ground, wings beating. Their panicked carpet lifts, circles, and falls again. Calls that seem to come from creatures twice their size carry miles before fading. By morning, that sound never happened. Again, there is only here, now, the river's braid, a feast of waste grain that will carry these flocks north beyond the Arctic Circle. As first light breaks, the fossils return to life, testing their legs, tasting the frozen air, leaping free, bills skyward and throats open. And then, as if the night took nothing, forgetting everything but this moment, the dawn sandhills start to dance. Dance as they have since before this river started. Her brother needed her. The thought protected Karin through the alien night. She drove in a trance, keeping to the long dogleg south down Nebraska 77 from Siouxland, then west on 30 tracking the Platte. The back roads were impossible in her condition, still shattered from the telephone's stab at 2 a.m. Mark Schluter, this is Good Samaritan Hospital in Kearney. Your brother has had an accident. The aide wouldn't say anything over the phone, just that Mark had flipped over on the shoulder of North Line Road and had lain pinned in his cab, almost frozen by the time the paramedics found and freed him. For a long time after hanging up, she couldn't feel her fingers, until she found them pressed into her cheeks. Her face was numb, as if she had been the one lying out there in the freezing February night. Her hands, stiff and blue, clawed the wheel as she slipped through the reservations. First the Winnebago, then the rolling Omaha. The scrub trees along the patchy road bowed under tufts of snow. Winnebago Junction, the powwow grounds, the tribal court and volunteer fire department, the station where she bought her tax-free gas, the hand-painted wooden shingle reading, Native Arts Gift Shop, the high school, home of the Indians, where she'd volunteered tutored until despair drove her off. The scene turned away from her, hostile. On the long, empty stretch east of Rosalie, a lone male her brother's age in a too-light coat and hat, go big red, tracked through the roadside drift. He turned and snarled as she passed, repelling the intrusion. The suture of the center line drew her downward into the snowy black. It made no sense. Mark, a near-professional driver, rolling off an arrow-straight country road that was as familiar to him as breathing. Driving off the road in central Nebraska, like falling off a wooden horse. She toyed with the date, 02-2002. Did it mean anything? Her palms butted the wheel, and the car shook. Your brother has had an accident. In fact, he'd long ago taken every wrong turn you could take in life, and from the wrong lane. Telephone calls coming in at awful hours, as far back as she could remember. But never one like this. She used the radio to keep herself awake. She tuned into a crackpot talk radio show about the best way to protect your pets from waterborne terrorist poisonings. All the deranged, static voices in the dark seeped into her, whispering what she was, alone on a deserted road, half a mile from her own disaster. What a loving child Mark had been, staffing his earthworm hospital, selling his toys to stave off the farm foreclosure, throwing his 8-year-old body between their parents that hideous night 19 years ago, when Cappy took a loop of power cord to Joan. That was how she pictured her brother, as she fell headlong.